I am curious about your Joe Walsh connection only because I met Joe back 21 years ago or so, selling him radios on eBay, and I didn't realize that it was the Joe Walsh until I finally just came out and asked him, "Are you the Joe Walsh?" And he said, "Yep, that's me." So I contacted Rich Moseson at CQ Magazine, and before I knew it, I got the cover story for a 5,000 word Joe Walsh interview and went down to his house in Studio City and all that. And he's a great guy. And I saw the great big clock on the wall, the big Collins clock that he said that you had delivered to him.
That
Yep,
one,
that one right
one,
there.
one like that.
Yeah,
I remember it well.
yeah. So there's your clock right on the
Yep.
cover. And I took that picture and all the other pictures of the interview. And I was
Mhm.
just curious. Obviously, you were around the rock and roll world a lot. But how did you meet up with Joe? That must have been neat with you guys both being hams.
It was. I I didn't know what was going to happen with all of my sound reinforcement life. I mean, I had this little music store that I started, and that was going very well. And then we started doing sound. What really started it was the Fox Theater were throwing out a couple of their Olson bins. Those one on the right,
Hmm.
built in 1932, 16-foot folded horns. I took those and goofed around, got some Macintosh amps, and built a PA for just local groups around here. But the next thing you know, I'm getting called by Keel Auditorium. Hey, we hear you got a big PA. And so my first concerts at Keel Auditorium was Dolly. She was only like 22 or 3. Porter Wagner and Buck Owens, all that. One of the guys came up to me. It would have been in '68, and he said, "Hey," he said, "I got a little group in Ohio I'm managing, and we need some sound system. Do you want to do a little short tour with them?" Yeah, okay. So we go to Ohio, had about 4 or 5 dates there, and it was the James Gang. Second show in, we're talking. We found out we were hams. Hello.
I bet.
And from there, that day forward to
Okay.
it got crazy. In 2005, maybe he started calling me a little bit for that, and he was doing really well. I didn't talk to him during the '80s. He was really messed up, and I didn't really talk to him much. He didn't want to talk to much of anybody. But he started calling me, and I'm going, wait a minute, this is a new Joe. Yeah, I said, we're putting the Eagles back together. Really? And so I knew there was something up. So Sarah and I would go out and we'd spend a week or so with him and go bowling or just crazy stuff, just having fun, getting back to knowing each other and not on the other side of the fence for him. And that's how it all started. So we bought a place out there. We were out there for about 6 or 7 years, working in the studios with him and getting things together. And that's really how we, I guess you could say, got reborn. But Joe's a great friend, and I uh, I love him a lot. He's doing really well too. Since he married Ringo Starr's sister-in-law. He and think about this now. He and Ringo are brother-in-laws. Think about that. But yeah, but that's how that all happened. And he came here to visit one time, and I had just gotten that. That's another story how I got that. Do you remember AES in Chicago? Or
Yeah.
uh, Terry Sturman started that. I was a good friend with Terry Sturman. I met him in 1957 with that Harvey Wells right over there on 6 meters. But anyway, when we spent a lot of time together, both there, he'd come here, whatever. And a few years after he passed on, and I hated it when Terry died, I got a call from his store manager, who wasn't at that time, but Ray Grenier. Ray said, "Hey, Heil, we're cleaning out the warehouse, and there's a box back here, and Terry's writing, and it says, 'Give to Bob Heil.'" Hello, it's the Meatball sign. That was, and that picture, it's hard to see, but there's a picture right beside it of it in the store. That's a Collins setup. You can kind of see that meatballs on top of it there. But that's how I got it. So Joe's here. Okay. Years later, he said, I need one of those. I said, oh. He said, I don't need yours. Just find me one. Well, see if you could find a needle in a haystack, you know, as it would be. I told you a while ago, everything in my life, so many things, it just so blessed. It just comes together. I'm looking on eBay and there's a Meatball. That's what we call it. The Collins dealer sign. And I'm going, oh no. So I wrote the guy a private note and I said, hey, I want to buy your Collins sign. Okay. I said, how are we going to get it? I didn't tell him what I wanted for it. He said, well, I'm going to Dayton. So why don't we just meet up there? Great. I'll send you the money. I did. Okay. About a week before Dayton, he calls me. He said, hey, man, I'm sick. I can't make it to Dayton. I said, oh, my God. What are we going to do? How are we going to get that thing? So I called Joe. He said, don't worry about it. So we got a moving van to go to New Jersey and carry them all across to Dayton. Brought it to Dayton. I have a friend of mine who's a truck driver, over the road truck driver. He goes from St. Louis, actually from Marissa, where he lives, my hometown years back, to California. He drops off flour from the flour company here and picks up tomatoes or something, brings it back. I said, wait, hey, I got a deal for you. I said, now you can't tell anybody this, but how would you like to meet Joe Walsh? Well, I'm going to do that. I said, you're going to take something to his house? Oh, no. I said, yeah, but you can't tell anybody about this. It's over. And that's how it happened. They brought the sign to me. Then we put it in his truck later on and he drove it out. And it was on the cover of Electric Radio of the guys and Joe digging it out of the cab of the semi. That's how Joe got his meatball. Yay. At least he got it. I was so afraid we weren't going to make this happen.
What a great story.
I've never seen one since.
Can't be that many floating around.
No, but especially good. And this one lights up and all that.